my wow, like, oh my absolute wow. I was pacing up and down my studio flat for over an hour, literally going, what? What? And it's kind of like, how do I go from Friday morning, I'm unemployed, Friday evening, 1, 2, 3, let's do this.
This girl's inside. I wanna get to know you. I hope you get to know me too.
Beautiful people, is that you? Is that you though? Guess who is back? Y'all, I have missed you. Welcome back to This Girl's Insights. Oh my days. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to This Girl's Insights, where you can find vlogs and sit down conversations about faith and lifestyle. In each of my videos, I share my insights, my journey, my life with you. Wow. It is so nice to be back. It is so nice to be back. But before I kind of go into all of that, let us just talk about the fact that you've read the title. I got a new job. Won't he do it? Yes, he did it. He's my God and he handles my business. Won't he do it? Yes, he did it. He's my God and he handles my business. Yo, I'm not gonna start singing because we're gonna be here all day. Okay, so for those of you who don't know the background to this, a few months back I posted a video about how I quit my job without another job to go to for various reasons, but the main reason was because I knew it was time. Like, I had a word and I knew that, you know what, it was time for me to leave that place. It was no longer healthy for me to be there. But again, that for me was a leap, because as much as it was a very natural leap and I knew I was moving in obedience, like, I have never not been working. Like, even when I haven't been working, I've always had a source of income. So to be in a place where I was actually, I'm just going to stop and rest, that was really strange for me. Because not only that, but then now I'm dipping into savings that weren't for stopping and resting. That was not the intention of that. So obviously, like, you know, with me quitting my job, I've had to find another job. And those of you that follow me on my blog, in case you guys don't know, I do have a blog, www.thisgirlsinsights.com. If you do like reading, check it out and all that good stuff. You've kind of followed me throughout some of this journey. And I don't actually know, I've not announced this on the blog yet, but basically I got a new job, guys. I got a new job. And I wanted to just come on here and share a testimony with you, especially because in the video where I talked about leaving my job, at the end I did say when I get a new job I will come back and I will update you guys. But yo, even when I said that, I didn't expect the testimony that God gave me. Like, for me, like, literally, like, I was like you look back on this and you're like, what? And when I say testimony, I mean testimony about the process of being unemployed and just my emotions throughout all of that. The process of finding a new job and the way I got a new job and the fate, you know, when God is just like, oh, I'm gonna favor you, like, and I was like, oh, you're really gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna try and be serious. But then also just outside of that, just the job in and of itself. I have been in this job for a few months now, which is kind of why, you know, the YouTube person has kind of died down over the last few months, because I've been trying to figure out my scheduling. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I don't just do YouTube. Like, YouTube is a creative outlet for me, in the sense that, like, it's not my source of income, hence why I needed to find another job. I don't get paid for this video. This is literally what I do for fun. Some people be watching TV, I be recording videos. But then in addition to that, I also have a blog, and I'm pretty active on my Instagram account as well. So I will leave all the details somewhere on the screen. But because I do all of that, the process of going back to work meant I had to figure out a way to maintain all of that. I know what you're thinking. You didn't maintain all of that, which is why you don't not being on YouTube. I know. But basically what I done been doing was what I have been doing was basically, once I got settled in with my work pattern, and just a few other things going on in my personal life, I started taking on one thing at a time. So first of all, I went back onto social media, then I got back onto my blog, and now I am back on YouTube. And like, I'm not promising a posting schedule, I'm not promising anything apart from I'm going to try and see how we can make this work. I am going to be back regularly, I just don't know what that looks like yet. But yeah, That is a complete sidebar. I have digressed. I apologize. Let us praise Jesus about this testimony. So y'all know I quit my job, and the last time we kind of talked, I don't know if I said this before, but basically in my mind, as much as I had quit, I was in a place where I didn't know what I wanted next. I didn't know what type of jobs I was going to be applying for. I just basically just boom, quit. And I was meant to have a period of rest, and the plan was, okay, rest in December, because my last day was the end of November, so I was like, rest in December, then January you'll be refreshed, and then you can kind of start applying for jobs, because that's when a lot of the jobs come out. January I was not refreshed. I wasn't even thinking about my CV, so it took me quite a while to get back into the applying for a job process. But what that meant was this 3-month deadline, 4-month deadline was in the dust. Like, that wasn't about to happen, because I think towards the 3-month deadline, that's when I actually got serious about my job search. And I'm not even gonna lie, like, there was a lot of rejection throughout this process. It's funny because saying that now, I think I had to look back and realize there was rejection, because throughout my unemployment, I had such a peace that I could not explain. Like, such a, yeah, I don't have a source of income. Yes, this is not something I'm comfortable with. Yes, this is not the dream. Yes, it's been 3 months, but I was so at peace. It's like I couldn't get to a place where I could enter into worry. And I don't know how else to describe. Like, okay, I did have a wobble, and that's a very specific story, which I wrote about on my blog. So I will leave a link to that in the bio if you all want to read that. I'm not going to go into that right now. But then generally, like, throughout, like, the process, I was just, like, to the point where I was so calm and I was so at peace that I was like, maybe you don't understand the seriousness of this situation. So I sat down and I wrote down the details of, this is how far you are into your savings. These are the bills that are coming out. This is how long you've not been working. This is what this looks like. Read it and make it click in your mind that this is not an ideal place to be right now. But then even as I was reading it, I couldn't get and not that I was trying to make myself worry, but then in my mind, to an extent, I was like, are you actually deluded? Have you lost your mind? Like, are you deluded about this? Why are you so calm? A few people were like, so yeah, you're still relaxed. Oh, that's good. Praise Jesus. But you can see the worry in their eyes. So I wanted to check that I actually wasn't lying to myself. So I wrote all of this down. But then what I found was I couldn't get myself to a complete place of worry, because every time I would try and properly worry, the word would get in the way. And when I say the word, I mean, like, those of you that have seen the other video know that when I left my last job, I knew it was time. I had a word from God. I was at peace. I definitely knew God was ordering my steps out of that, and He was taking me into a new season, and I wasn't sure what that was going to look like, but then I definitely left on faith. So I was in a position where things weren't going according to how I pictured it, but then when I was trying to worry, when I was trying to be like, oh, it was kind of like, I'd be like, but, and they're like, actually, no, but God said. And it's like, He's ordering your steps. And I think so for me, that for me is the first testimony. Just this complete peace through unemployment, and just this calmness, and even going into job interviews, we're like, okay, yeah, like, what's mine, it's mine. I know God has a job for me. The question is whether it's this job. So let's see if this is gonna work. And I think it's really interesting to interview, because the last time I was interviewing for a job, I was relatively young and new to my career. I was in my early 20s. So it was this idea of you going to an interview and you're trying to impress them. Is that now I'm in a place where I know what I like, I know what I don't like, and I'm in my mind going, well, God's got me. So as much as they're interviewing me, I'm interviewing them, and I'm going, actually, is this the right place for me? Especially because I knew I had come out of I knew the place I had come out from, I had been freed from certain things. And what I didn't want to do was enter back into the same bondage. Like, when I wasn't working, am I talking really fast? I'm gonna need a sip. When I wasn't working, I was holding on to Galatians 5:1 a lot. I'm gonna stick it on the screen, but it just talks about standing fast, therefore, in your freedom. And specifically, that scripture is about standing fast in the freedom that is given to us in righteousness. So standing in the freedom from sin, standing in the freedom from the law, and actually living under grace, and not grace to sin, but grace to live a life according to the word of God. Let's just put that out there real quick. So that's what the scripture is about. But for me, like in that season, I was very much like, do you know what? I know I have been freed from something. And what I am not going to do is knowingly walk into the same situation. Knowingly walk into a situation where I know I'm going to be overworked. I'm not going to be respected. There's going to be no progression. Because then I just took like a break for the sake of a break. And I also knew like, and I don't know, I really should have watched my last video before I started filming this video. But I don't know if I said this in my last video, but I also knew the last job I was in, my lifestyle was not the work lifestyle that God had demanded for Christians. That is not what God speaks over his children. He does not call us to toil. Like the toiling to eat, that is a part of the curse. We have been freed from that. And yes, we have to work, and we have to work as unto God, but then it doesn't call us to, like, you know, to be stressed about it. It doesn't call us like work should not be taken over our lives. So I knew that I had been brought out of that, and I wasn't going to go back into a work-life culture that wasn't in line with the kingdom culture. I hope I'm making sense, guys. But that's basically where I was. So yeah, first testimony is just the peace throughout this, and for me that's the major testimony, though I do have a doozy coming up. But for me, just the amount of peace and just being held down by a word of God. Oh, I am a big fan of having a word. Like in every situation, I am such a big fan of having some kind of word from God, because it will hold you down. And when the enemy tries to come, when situations tries to come, you will remember that you have a God that watches over his word to fulfill it. So it's gonna happen because he said he will do it, and you just have to stand and walk with him. I'm not gonna start preaching because I'm getting excited, and now I'm thinking about other situations, but we don't need to. Let's not go into the scriptures right now, because this is about to be like a 1-hour video if I don't move on swiftly. My second testing for me is actually the process of getting the job, because like I knew God was going to do it, but I did not expect for him to do it the way, like, oh my days. Where to begin? Let me begin at the start. So basically, the way I heard about this job was through a friend. So a friend someone I'd been working with in my last job. So she had left before I left, and she left to work in a recruitment company, not as a recruiter, but she was just within a recruitment company. And when I was leaving, she had said, you know what? Do you want me to put your name forward? Because, you know, they kind of do some of the stuff you work on. So I work on HR assistants. It's a niche, but not really niche. But basically, she had said, do you want me to put your name forward? And I basically just said, no. Now, yo, this is why pettiness and God is merciful. Because this is how pettiness and unforgiveness could have blocked my blessing. Because, okay, when she offered to put me forward put me forward to this recruitment company, in my mind, I didn't want to work with them because I had history with their sister company, and I was still feeling some type of way about the way they treated me. I wasn't happy with them. So I was like, no, don't bring me up to them. I'm happy you got the job, but I don't want anything to do with this company. So praise Jesus, she completely ignores me because she's talking to one of her colleagues. They mentioned this job, and she's like, I know someone that can do this job. And can I just say that is favor, because the job that they mentioned and the job that I'm in right now is not the exact same job I was in last time. They are having to train me to work on a new system. And generally with HR systems, it tends to be you have an experience with the system and they bring you in to work on the same system. So you need to know the system beforehand. So the fact that she even thought of me and thought that I could do the job, that was favor from God. Secondly, the thing I want to point out, it is so important when we talk about having integrity in the way you handle yourself in your workplace, when we talk about doing your job properly as unto God, it is so important because you don't know who's seeing you. Like, I didn't expect her to think I did my job so well the last time that she could ignore my instruction not to put me forward for the job, and she could still say to them, still try and see if you can get her. It is so important to just be the salt of the earth in your workplace and do everything that you do as unto Christ. So basically, she puts me forward, they call me, and I'm like, okay, this is relatively different. But again, I'm in a place where I don't know what God has next for me, and the role sounded interesting. That, like, I was like, okay, I could do this. I haven't done it before, but I could do it if they could offer the training. At that point in time, though, because I was at this stage in a few processes, and by processes I mean I was applying for a few jobs, I was interviewing for a couple other places. This was at the bottom of my list because the location was a bit further out. So a lot of the jobs I was looking at were in central London, City of London, Bank, that kind of area, Liverpool Street. This is going into central London and coming out a bit. So for me, I was kind of like, okay, the location is a bit of a, but you know, let's go for it. I'm unemployed. I need a job. Why am I going to say no? You know, my friends already ignored me. We're already having this conversation. So I end up going, I had the phone interview and I'm like, okay, this role is actually interesting and I could do it, I think. And it was an opportunity to do something different. And then I go for the face-to-face interview. Excuse me, guys. Oddly enough, the face-to-face interview, I went on a Friday, and on that same Friday, I was at final stages for everything, and I was interviewing for them final stage, and then afterwards, I was going to go over to a law firm and interview for them final stage as well. So I get to the company I'm working at now, obviously, except we all know how the story ends, but I basically get there, and the interview was late for some reason, so I am sat in reception for longer than usual, and I was just extremely, like, the vibe in the place was so friendly, so comfortable. It was just like, I was like, I really like this place. Like, I just really, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but I really liked the place. Then I had the interview, and the interview went really well, and not went really well in the sense that I was impressive. It was just like, I felt like I was having a conversation with adults who understood their needs, what they needed someone to do. We got on, we clicked. I met the person who was going to be my manager. I met the head of department, and they just seemed like really cool people. So for me, and I think that's the thing, because oddly enough, I had been in other interview processes where you meet the person and you're like you take things off your list because you're smiling to my face, but there's gonna be drama 3 months down the line with me and you. We ain't clicking. So like for me, that was nice as well. So I kind of, you know, that all happened. There was a test at the end of the interview, like a system, like a technical test. And it wasn't even technical, it was Microsoft Excel, but relatively technical, to see like what your skill set level was. So I did all of that, and then I wasn't sure how that went, and then I kind of put that in the back of my mind, went on to the next interview. And that interview went really well again. They were really friendly. And as I leave that interview, I am now walking back to the station to go back home because, you know, done with interviews for the day. I get a call from the first company, the company I interviewed for in the morning. And they go, we really liked you, but we don't actually want to offer you the job you applied for. We want to offer you the more senior level. And I'm like, what? And this girl, and she, like, in my mind, I literally stopped in the middle of the road. I found a corner, and I'm like, especially because Liverpool Street, it's packed. No, and I wasn't in Liverpool Street. I was nearly a bank station. So there's just like people moving. It's like nearly towards the end of the day, so people are on the streets. So I am like, just listen to this woman, and she's talking. Well, I say this woman now, she's a friend because she's a colleague. And she's talking about, you know what? When they initially advertised the role, they wanted to bring someone in at a more junior level, and then train them up to the more senior level. But from the interview, even though I don't have experience with the system, it is obvious I could already operate on the more senior level. So they wanted to just bring me in to do the same job, but on a higher salary. And it took me a while to realize, wait a minute, you want to instantly promote me before I have started the job? Like, yo, when you have a word from God and he says he wants to do something in your life, y'all better believe him. Y'all better believe God. Oh my days. I need to calm down. I thought this was going to be a 10-minute video. Why do I always think it's gonna be like a quick video and then it's not? I should know myself better. Let me put this down. Maybe I will talk quicker. What was I trying to say? So yeah, so basically, so she offers me this job, and for me, okay, here's why this really moved me, because I had come from a place where I think I talked about this in the first video where I talked about quitting my job, where they weren't really offering me any progression. And honestly, if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm never going to put their name out there. In the same way, I'm not going to put the name of my current company out there because they might not want to be linked to my YouTube channel. That's just how it is. But when, like in my last company, they would haggle over money. They would be like, yeah, we see your work in the hours, we value you, we don't know what we do without you. Like, I have fully had people like call me up to contest £300 in a, you know, when you're like, we fully haggling, or like, it's not negotiations, it's like, we're gonna fight you for every penny. So to have come from that to in a place where they're like, you know what, we recognize your value, because they could have easily bought me in at the lower level. They could have easily done that and tried to, like, you know, yes, we'll give you progression, the usual stories. But then to be in a place where they're like, we recognize your value, and we're actually going to give you something that is more aligned with what we think you can do, without you fighting, without you begging, without you asking for it. That really moved me. Oh. Now, yo, that's just the beginning of the testimony. Because I'm then, you know, like, you know, you have to shackle. What's the English of that? You have to kind of, like, you know, you can't just, I have this rule about, how do you, yo, can someone who is Yoruba in the comments please give me the English for shackle? Like, what is that? But basically, I have this rule about, I never accept a job when I, like, even if I know I'm going to accept it, if you offer me a job, I say I'm going to think about it and I'll come back to you. So this was a Friday and I was like, okay, I'm going to think about it. I'll come back to you Monday. I then called up the recruiter for the interview I just left, and I just said, I know they liked me, but just be aware, I've had another offer come through. I'm most likely going to accept it on Monday morning. So if they're going to make a decision, they need to make a decision soon. But I'm most likely, I think I'm going with the other one anyways. What I did not expect was for this company to do a quick turnaround and basically say, don't accept this other offer. And then not only did they say, don't accept this other offer, they basically said they were going to offer me also instant promotion. So whatever this company, my company was offering me, they would also offer me a higher level and a higher salary so they could get me. And I was like, what? Because here's the thing, a part of me is like, okay, do I try to be good at my job? Am I hardworking? Yes. But for me, this was like, okay, dang. Like, so 2 instant promotions. Now, on top of all of that, by the Monday, over the weekend, I prayed, I knew where I needed to be. So by the Monday, I had called and I had accepted the job for the first one. So the first people that called me. And then I kind of called to reject the other job, and that was that done. So I rejected the law firm, accepted the job I'm currently in. Then the law firm called, like, I'm done. Moved on. I'm praising Jesus. I'm like, okay, now prepping to go back to work. The law firm then calls me back and they're like, we know you already rejected our offer, but can we just, you know, give you more to think about? And can we book in a phone call with you and our global head of department to see if there's anything else we can do? He would just like to discuss the job a bit. And I was like, what? Like what? Because the man, no, yo, this is not like this is a full reenaction. I was pacing up and down my studio flat for over an hour, literally going, what? 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 And I think it's kind of like, a part of me is like, okay, and when I left my last job, I asked for a testimony. But what I didn't expect was, because I was like, okay, where did they first of all match you? Then when you reject the job, they now call global head of department. My accent has changed. That's how much shock has entered. Like, so I'm not stupid. I took the phone call because, you know, we network in this world. But then in the end, I ended up going for the company I'm in. So that is kind of the second testimony. I'm aware I've been talking for a minute now, but do you know what? We can't. I have to shout about the glory of God because He did it. Won't He do it? No, I'm gonna be serious. Oh, yo. Oh. So what was I saying? So yeah, that was the second testimony. The second testimony is just this process of getting this job, this instant promotion. And that's the thing, like, you know, it's funny how you pray for these things. I'm like, oh, I would love it. And now I'm like, I'm so confused. 2 companies. Which one shall I pick? And it's kind of like, how do I go from Friday morning, I'm unemployed, Friday evening, I don't know which job to go to, and they're trying to put me in positions higher than the one I applied for? It's like, oh Lord. When Jesus is involved, it's a different story. Final testimony, just because of time, is just this process of, like, I have been working since, it's been a few months now. So it's been like over 3 months, what month are we in? June. And it's been just about 4 months. And for me, just the actual job in itself was a testimony. My work life compared to what I was doing, like, I leave the office and it's still light outside. They let you work flexibly with regards to your working hours, but also with regards to being able to work from home every so often. they care about me, they treat me well. And for me also, just the ability to do the job, because I find this thing, like whenever I start a new job, whenever I get whenever anything in my career, I have this thing where I'm like, okay, God, help me get the job. And then when I get the job, I'm like, okay, God, we've got the job, now I'm gonna need you to do the job. Because for me, very early on in my career, because I was doing a lot of things that I felt that I couldn't do, and to an extent I still feel that way a lot of the times, call it imposter street syndrome, call it whatever you want to call it, I have learned to just say, okay, God, they've got projects, how are we doing this? And God has been very faithful with helping me do my job, with helping me build relationships. When I was in my last job, I couldn't have imagined that by this time in my life I would be in this work-life culture. So for me, that is just such an amazing testimony. And what's interesting is I remember when I had quit my job and I was working out my notice, and I remember like I was trying to think about what do I want for my next job, and I didn't know what I wanted my career to be, but I was like, you know, I want to be able to wear jeans to work. And I was like, yeah. And yeah, it's really casual dress, like even though like it's still like CEOs and jeans, like it's really casual the way people dress in my new organization. And it is an international organization, so it's not like it's not corporate, it's corporate, but then people are just chill, which again is amazing. So all this time you'll be seeing me on Insta and I'm in jeans and I'm out and about and I'm just dressed normally. I've probably been at work if it's been within the last couple months. But yeah, that is basically it. I've also been taking lunch breaks. It has been amazing. I've been going to the park it's been amazing. I feel like that's I'm not sure if there's much to say on that now, but yeah, I just want to give God glory, like, and I just want to encourage you, like, you know, whatever season you're in, whatever you're waiting on the Lord for, just trust in him, hold on to his word, pray, and know that if he is giving you a word, he will watch over it. Like his word does not return to him void. It is not possible. So he will watch over it. So be faithful in waiting on him and in trusting in him. And I think that's it. I don't want to go on for the sake of going on. Like I said, I am back on YouTube now. I'm not sure what my post schedule is going to be. I'm kind of introducing YouTube back into everything else, or into the blog and social media, and where it fits we'll see. So y'all just hang with me. I appreciate you just being here, and I appreciate you watching the video actually. I hope it has blessed you. If you are new to the family, we would love to have you. So there will be a subscribe button somewhere here. I don't know where it is. I've been gone so long that even though before I didn't even know, but click on the subscribe button, join the family. If you enjoy this video, please thumbs up, leave a comment below, and actually share your experience with me. Share your testimonies as well. Let us encourage each other. I'm not joking. I do hope you get to know me, and I want to get to know you too. So, you know, leave a comment below, share your testimonies, share your thoughts, and I think that's basically it. Before I round this off, is there anything else? No? Okay, so I'm just gonna say thank you so much for watching. God bless you, Jesus loves you, and may the Spirit of God be with you. Bye guys. And when I say look for the good in the situation, I don't say look at your singleness and say, I'm single and it's less than being married, but let me try and find some good thing. No, I'm saying your life is amazing right now.